Welcome back to Liquid Lunch. I am Erin Elmore in for John Tobacco today on a Tuesday, the 13th of October. We are 79 days until 2020 is over, which I'm very excited about today. I'm also very excited about our next guest, Bill Donahue. He is the president of the Catholic League. Bill, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
I'm sorry I'm not John Tobacco, but I think I'll be able to entertain you nonetheless.
I think that's right.
Well, I know right now you're probably the perfect person to talk to because I on one side of me, I have a television playing and it's Coney Barrett and her confirmation hearing. And I think the biggest thing we've seen come up is her Catholic faith. It's all over the place. It's front, it's center. Do you think this process in confirmation hearing and all that's surrounding it is showing that America has an unfair bias against Catholics?
Well, of course, we at the Catholic League, that's our mission statement. We fight anti-Catholicism. We don't care whether it comes from liberals, conservatives, Republicans, or Democrats, from Hollywood, the artistic community, the corporations, the schools, particularly the schools anymore. We just take it on wherever it comes from. So, yeah, I mean, there's definitely a deep-seated hostility. It used to be in the past, going back to the nation's founding, it was theologically oriented, some strong differences, thinking that the Catholics were all obedient to Rome and that kind of thing. But ever since around, roughly from the time about JFK to today, we've made a lot of progress in this country in seeing that the theological animus against Catholicism has faded a lot. May not be completely gone, but very few Catholics are complaining about that in the workplace or in school. However, the secular left has been flexing its muscles against Catholics and evangelical Protestants and Orthodox Jews, as well as some Muslims and Mormons. What do they have in common? We accept traditional moral values. So that's really the issue here. And it has flared, particularly 3 years ago when a professor at that time, Barrett, was being considered for a position on the circuit court. So it's right now, I think they're being a little careful because they got burnt, didn't they?
Sure did. They absolutely did. The other aspect of her confirmation and conversation surrounding it have been about people of praise. And for those of you at home that don't know, people of praise, well, maybe Bill, I can let you talk about it, but they say that she is a member of a Catholic group called People of Praise, and they're saying that in a derogatory fashion. Bring us up to speed.
Yeah, People of Praise, and we're not even sure whether she's actually a member at this point or not. She's been a little vague herself. They operate interracial schools. They're a charismatic Christian organization. It's heavily populated by Catholics. It may not be for everybody, but it's no cult. You don't, once they got you in a cult, you don't leave. You can go whatever you want. I know some of these groups myself. I don't know People of Praise, but I've known some others. It wouldn't be my cup of tea, but it's certainly that way for others. Look, the Pope Francis is not exactly a man who's regarded in conservative circles as one of their heroes. And he certainly likes People of Praise. He wouldn't embrace them as he did and welcome them if he thought that there was some kind of schismatic organization. We've also have sitting bishops who are members of People of Praise. No, they've tried to make this out to be some nutty cult. It's nothing like that at all. This is a very independent-minded woman, and anybody who I know who knows her, and I don't know her personally, but I know people who work with her, she's not going to sit there and be a piece of putty for some male-dominated patriarch who's going to tell her what to do. That's all a lie made up by the left.
Of course, it's the leftist narrative, of course. And the left supports women until it's not convenient for them to do so. But I think the nature of the argument about People of Praise was that it was all about being subservient to the husband. And you can hear her speaking for the last 2 days, and there was nothing subservient about her. And we know that this Catholic faith is, the dogma lives loudly within her, as Dianne Feinstein said. And you know what? I think the right has turned that into almost like a battle cry. I know there's certain dogma now that lives loudly within me. I think that's sort of we've turned a negative into a positive. But how do you think she will best reconcile her religious beliefs with her legal duties?
Well, she's already dealt with that. In 1998, she had an article in Notre Dame Law Review, co-authored with John Garvey, whom I know well. He's a good man. He's actually the president of the Catholic University of America in Washington, D.C. And in that article, they took up the question of a practicing Catholic dealing with capital punishment. Well, the church is basically opposed to capital punishment. So what do you do if you're looking at a case where the law in this country is that it's still legal, even if it's not used frequently? And they basically said, listen, you could recuse yourself, but one thing is very, very clear. We are not, as a judge, going to take our cues from the catechism. Mm-hmm. See, it's okay for a lawmaker to say, my religion informs my legislation, whether you're Catholic, Protestant, Jewish, or whatever you may be. But when it comes to a judge has a different charge. A judge is to make interpretations based on the actual text and the original intent of the people who wrote the Constitution. So she's come right out and said, I'm going to keep my Catholic teaching aside, even though I'm a good practicing Catholic. That's not going to affect, nor should it affect, my reasoning as a jurist. In her own private life, of course, she's going to follow Catholic teaching, but she makes that distinction. She did it with John Garvey. It's not even a gray area. The Democrats trying to get her on this, they've hit a brick wall. She's won and they lost.
I think this is going down the path of a win pretty quickly for the Republicans. I just hope it doesn't get Democrats fired up so they go out and vote on Election Day. But speaking of Democrats, we've got Kamala Harris and Joe saying that they're people of faith. Do you find that to be a genuine statement?
Well, here's where I'm coming from. I don't really know what's in their heart of hearts, so I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to say that they are people of faith, and hopefully they'll get a free ride to heaven. But you know what? That's not my interest. I run a Catholic civil rights organization. We're not interested in the persona. We're interested in the policies. And I can tell you one thing. The policies on religious freedom coming from Biden and from Harris are abysmal. Mm-hmm. They've done nothing. If they've done anything at all, they look at religious liberty as it's a weapon to beat down people's rights, which is simply totally false. No, they may be the holiest people God ever put on this earth. I have no interest in confronting that. I am going to confront them. I'm going to confront the Democrats. Where are your champions of religious liberty? It's certainly not Kamala Harris, and it is certainly not Joe Biden. They're total failures.
And you know who else? It is certainly not Cuomo and de Blasio of their treatment of both the Catholics and the religious groups and the Hasids in New York. They have no problem with the BLM protest, and we're wrapping up in 30 seconds. But what say you on the treatment of religious groups in New York?
Well, de Blasio and Cuomo are both a disgrace. De Blasio doesn't believe in anything except for himself. Cuomo proclaims to be a Catholic. He always likes to tell us he was an altar boy. Isn't that wonderful? Again, I'm looking at your policies. Both of these men have worked against religious liberty, the rights of Catholics and Orthodox Jews in particular, and they are an absolute, utter disgrace.
Right. They have no problem going out and engaging in a protest or a riot. De Blasio's own daughter was arrested for rioting, yet they won't let people worship. And to me, that's a real constitutional crisis. Bill Donahue, president of the Catholic League, thank you for your time. Thank you for allowing yourself to be with me instead of John Tobacco today. God bless you and have a great day.
Anytime. Thank you so much.